Hey everyone, well, with August winding down and and my plans for the remainder of the year for Skeleton Crew streams is to finish talking about a very divisive yet also very unique Star Wars spinoff. But before I do that, I thought I would give you a serving of some merchandise driven cheese. So, with that in mind, let's talk about how I, in a sense, watched Power Rangers Cosmic Fury wrong and absolutely loved it. So, let's begin. I would have done this on the actual anniversary of Day of the Dumpster coming on TV earlier this week, but things have been getting in the way both on this channel with this unseasonable heat wave as well. Oh, so the season which celebrated 30th anniversary of the whole franchise uses some elements from Uchu Sentai Q Ranger, mainly the mecha footage and the space travel elements, but beyond that, it mostly does its own thing. I mean, I would have been okay with a more direct adaptation of Q Ranger, I mean, especially in the case of the costumes, but all things considered, I actually think that they did alright what they did. I mean, even just someone like me who just went in mostly, but not entirely blind, given how I'm not completely caught up on the lore in the previous seasons, but I've seen enough of them to understand the plots, these characters, and how they operate. And it's been like a little recap by touch at one point, a mind meld. The and also we have the return of Billy Cranston, my fave. It's implied the reunion special is canon to the season, and on top of Lord Zed being voiced by Fred Tatasciore, I honestly really like him. It wouldn't be the first time he voiced a variant of a character that owned by Hasbro. I also loved him as a War for Cybertron Megatron. We have a new villain called Bajillionaire, who is the owner of arms dealer Squid Incorporated, which comes with a reversal like the Inklings of Platoon. And there's also this alien reporter who somehow has a better Beetlejuice costume than the actual upcoming sequel, which is... I don't think it was intentional, but still. How about I also believe that the counterpart for Harvey in Q Ranger also lost his arm, which is also an easy Star Wars parallel either way. In general, on top of having those similarities to like the In Space and Lost Galaxy seasons, and that's because featuring all the concepts, I'm liking the parallels to Star Wars, Star Trek, and now Guardians of the Galaxy. Not exactly how I figured it would happen, but it works for me. Hey, all I really need is like my inner 10-year-old one's imagination hopped up on my choice of cereal and some Pop-Tarts. The rest basically writes itself. There's lots of Easter eggs throughout the whole show that I definitely appreciate. And one of the planets in Totally 22, Iridus, looks and sounds like Arrakis, complete with scuttle so now it's the other science fiction franchise I mentioned. We also got a little bit of Dune in there as well, so yeah. I will also note that even though I have to check to be certain, I believe Fern and Izzy's counterparts in Q Ranger were also together as well, and with one of their sisters also having Charge Syndrome, much like the actress portraying her. I think they took a best approach to representation in this verse and the issue about it by not making it one. I've been part of David Yost's no hate movement for over 10 years now, and there's even certain lines that actually he hit very differently depending on how you look at them. No one should have to feel like they don't belong in their body. Other highlights of this season include Lord Zed taking over Zordon's home with Eltar, and that's just cold there. Here. And also, one of the his Zords end up finding his dormant on a distant planet, and now there's a callback. There's a lot of similarities as well to the transition between Mighty Morphin 3 and Zia, where they have keep the same cast, and also have Billy as a mentor figure and technical advisor as well. It totally makes sense to me that even though I was like in hindsight headcanon him sort of like a Bruce Wayne or Tony Stark kind of figure, actually building a lot of stuff, restoring a lot of stuff that got wrecked in previous seasons, and also reestablishing the connection to the Morphing Grid as well. Oh. And as for one scene where they provide musical distraction, dressed as monsters, I would totally miss in the Meat Chromes album. Been bumping lots of gore and negative land this week, and it reminds me a bit of that. Albeit more family friendly, of course, And as for Squid Incorporated Drills, they're basically our Death Star, Star Killer base, and Final Order fleet, as it were. And basically the whole, even though it's not as long as a typical season show would be, in order to level the playing field, they basically made it one continuous storyline that they all filmed at the same time, which, given the circumstances, I think this was another other season that ended up having to deal with everything happening, least of all the pandemic, but I saw behind the scenes footage that they had crew members and body doubles wearing hairy masks and following social distancing protocol, so still good there, man. And I still like a lot of little bits like how Operation Seasoning is something a delicious plan, and I won't say which one, but they have a spy on the inside of one of Zed's prison camps who's a Power Ranger, and 2 for 1. What a bargain. And even little bits actually end up remixing ideas that have been present through the entire show, where one example, I won't get into specifics, but this time, the heroes get to make their monster grow. Yeah. And it also turns out that even with Zed being back, I guess is from a timeline where he wasn't redeemed by the wave of counter destruction, and I definitely think what the real situation is even crazier. At one point, and it's basically in the episodes that serve as the finale of not just this season, but to 30 years of storytelling. Bajilia, Nair, I see what they did there, goes full Starscream, and ends up wanting to go through a route of never-ending war profiteering. How fiendish. So the endgame is to stop a reverse Z-wave that could eliminate all good in the universe. I will definitely say this Megazord Final Strike between the Dino Megazord, the Astro Megazord, the Galaxy Megazord, the Ninja Blaze Megazord, and Beast X Megazord is a nice way to help end the season and 30 years of storytelling. And it also, again, builds upon what one aspect I would like to see in the upcoming reboots. It's also very close to a mixture of like the real robots in the Pacific Rim universe and the super robots in live action Transformers. I also, and I won't just say exactly how it happens, but I always have a soft spot for depicting Rita and Zed in marriage as basically Peg and Al Bundy. It's not just my joke. The writers actually used it for points too in past seasons. Definitely mixed a bit in the Turbo movie. Part of the reasons why I wore the shirt. as I'll explain later, a bit more amusing in hindsight.
Yeah.
So, even though the show is now functionally on hiatus, with the reboot now in turnaround, how Netflix is no longer actively pursuing it, but they gave the higher ups the opportunity to shop it elsewhere. Here, the franchise is staying in the public eye more than one, and I'm enjoying the comics that have been published recently, especially the return storyline that Amy Jo Johnson wrote as a partial tribute to Jason David Frank. I'm definitely open to the upcoming partnership with Playmates Toys as well. My first thought is like TMNT collaboration, please. I am especially looking forward to the Rita's Rewind game, which should I think it's gonna be this is a perfect fit for a retro reimagined brawler after the success of Streets of Rage 4 and Shredder's Revenge. So, if everything's go from here, I will definitely be eager her to experience it, and I especially will keep an eye, like I said, on the Rita's Rewind game as more information becomes available. Well, I'm definitely low key excited for in the remainder of the year. That'll be all for now, and I will see you all again in September. May the power protect you forever.